Hello, everybody. Warm welcome to all of you who've joined the webinar. And I see more people joining in. We'll give them a few seconds. And in the meantime, we'll get started with some of the preliminary stuff for the webinar. So today's session is Organizing for Project Success by Humanizing Work. That's our theme. And today's session in particular is Accelerating Project Success, Essential Strategies for IT Services and ISV Leaders. So let's get started here. Agenda for today's session is to do some introductions in the beginning. I'll give you a quick overview of the sponsor of this webinar, NimbleWork, and Nimble, our product. And then we'll go on to the main session, which my apologies is incorrectly labeled here. And then we'll go on to the Q&A. Some housekeeping. The session is being recorded, and we will make the recordings available to you in a follow-up email after the webinar. And we will take questions using the Q&A panel that you should see in your Zoom panel. Please feel free to enter questions at any time. We will take these up at the end of the main presentation. All right. With that, let me introduce the speakers today. So our main speaker is Mano Cherian, who is Vice President for Business Development at NimbleWork. Mano has been uh, at the forefront of a lot of our some of our largest and toughest implementations. Toughest from the point of view of just the complexity of the customers, organization, the size, the different layers of organization, different kinds of reporting requirements, and of course different types of processes and projects to be supported. Mano has been involved both in the pre-sales and the post-sales engagement with those customers, and probably is the expert bar none for this industry in particular and in general for our overall product portfolio. Mano is going to be our main presenter today, and I'm really looking forward to this session by Mano. My name is Mahesh Singh. I'm a co-founder and I run marketing at NimbleWork. And I will provide you a little bit of an introduction to the company and then hand over the session to Mano. So just a quick word about NimbleWork. So we've been a pioneer in web-based solutions for project and work management for over 2 decades now, and we have customers around the world using our product with over 1 million plus users in Americas, Europe, Asia Pacific, and so on. We are headquartered here in Cupertino, California, and we have offices in the US, UK, and in India. And you can learn more about the company at our website, nimblework.com. Um, just a quick look at what our overall product portfolio is. And so as you can see here, we provide a really rich set of products and solutions for all kinds of projects and workflows. So you can see that we have extensive coverage to both traditional and agile project and work management. We have very strong visual work management capabilities for managing all kinds of work, whether it is in tech or outside of tech, in marketing or HR or operations or whatever be the kind of work that your teams do. We also provide some niche products which help you in terms of continuous improvement, like Nimble Retro, Swift Kanban, for those of you who may have adopted the Kanban method for your product design or for product development or operations or any kind of work that you might be doing. And if you're looking at a Kanban supported product, then Swift Kanban is probably considered the best in the by the Kanban community worldwide in terms of the products that we have. And then, of course, from a strategy and execution perspective, we provide support to both OKRs and to portfolio management. So we have strong OKR and PPM capabilities available as part of our product portfolio. And then, a lot of our customers use extensively all of the capabilities available through the platform, and they use Nimble Enterprise for running multiple types of projects and workflows all on the same platform for extensive dashboarding, reporting, and those kinds of things. So just a quick introduction. And again, if you would like to learn more about these, we have that available on our website. And certainly, we're happy to answer any questions during this session today. Just one final slide here, just to give you some idea of who our customers are. And you probably see some names here that are that you might be familiar with, but also some names that you might not be. And we have the capability really to run projects for some of the largest enterprises in the world with tens of thousands of users using our product in a single instance, and also some very small teams from 25 to 30 people, starting to use some of our products and then expanding as they grow with the usage. So we really support enterprise class capabilities, and we have been very uh, effective in supporting all kinds of projects and workflows with our products. So with that, I'm going to hand over to Mano for the main session. Mano, warm welcome to you, and let me stop sharing. You can go ahead.
Thank you, Mahesh, for setting the context well today. And just let me know if you are able to see my screen.
Yes.
All right. So we are all good to go. So as Mahesh did mention, the objective of today's webinar, which we will be focusing on for the next 30 minutes or so, is primarily on project success, and specifically for the IT services teams and the ISV leaders. Now, when it comes to project success, now the what is more important, especially in this sector for IT services and ISV, where you are delivering a service to a customer, is to make sure that you will be able to enhance the success of your projects through optimized resource utilization, accurate focus forecasting, and streamlined delivery. Now, these three pointers, which we have taken up for today's webinar, is purely based on our experience. We have dealt with multiple teams that are engaged in offering services. And the perspective of making a project successful is primarily on the basis of how well you deliver, and it is also on the basis on how well you deliver the project within the agreed timelines and the agreed budgets. What we have seen our customers do over a period of time is they have put in controls to make sure that they are able to have the right resources aligned to the project, have the right financial model defined in the project, and also have the right processes implemented in the project for ensuring a successful delivery. Now, we all know if you look at the current landscape, many service delivery projects are completed, but they do fall short on certain parameters. And we also know that 70% of the projects, though they get completed, they fail to meet the expectations. Now, there are different stakeholders from an expectation perspective. It could be the customer, and it could also be the internal organization, because at the end of the day, we are delivering projects to make it profitable and also to bring in revenue to the organization. So if you look at the two, there are many reasons why the expectations are challenged or the expectations are mismatched. But the two primary reasons which we would like to highlight in our webinar today, this is again primarily based on our experience, is there will be an expectation mismatch when it comes to delivery and execution. And this primarily impacts the customer, because this is primarily dealing with meeting customer expectations. It is dealing with ensuring a proper experience is given to the customer during the services engagement, and that experience can be given if the proven methods and the best practices which the organization has learned over a period of time is repeated and deployed within the projects, and also ensuring that the resources with the right skills. Now, resources can get allocated, but resources with the right skills, the right set of availability is basically allocated to the project. So we will have, I mean, there are issues. If I look at the previous slide, the reason why projects are not meeting the expectation is it is being challenged from a delivery perspective, where the customer expectations are not being met properly. And the second reason why the expectations are challenged is because of the internal requirement of making every project successful, profitable. So You need to have a mechanism to have transparency in the project revenue model, and that should be made visible to all the stakeholders who are within the organization, so the project can be monitored based on the revenue model that has been agreed. And also, you need to have accurate views, not towards the end of the project, but very early in the project itself, on how the forecast and the revenue that has been recognized for a project is looking. And if there is any issue over there, and if you're able to identify that issue way up front in the project lifecycle, you will be able to control it. So the expectations can be made better if we are able to handle delivery in a much better way, and making sure that the customer expectations are met. And also, if we are able to make sure that the project is profitable and beneficial for the organization. Now, the key drivers for ensuring the success, again, based on our experience, which we have seen, and there are many drivers, but we have just picked up the top five drivers, is you can be successful in your service delivery if you are able to bring consistency in the way in which you deliver and way in which you define and meet customer needs. You will also be able to be successful if you are able to adopt the best practices. So there is a project, you have practices and workflows that makes projects successful. Now we see that certain teams do follow it, certain teams follow their own methods and process. But if there is a way in which the best practices can be put into all the project teams, whether they are new or an experienced team, that will ensure successful delivery. Successful delivery will also be ensured if the right resources with the right skill sets are identified and allocated to the project. And this can also result in revenue saving for the organization, because many times, even when you have the right resource in the organization, you don't identify them, and you just land up hiring resources from external sources. And it is also very important for a successful delivery where you're able to align your execution with the revenue model. So the way the execution happens, the way the execution gets reported, it should get aligned to the revenue model, so that that will then contribute to the next important point, where you will be able to get visibility on revenue and forecast. So these are the five key drivers that will ensure successful delivery. And as a result of that, what we have seen, most of our customers and the industry adopting to meet to ensure that these drivers are there in all projects that is being executed within an organization, is again, there are multiple elements, multiple capabilities or frameworks that gets implemented, but we have just highlighted the top four. The first one is to ensure that there is consistency in delivery, and templatize your proven methods and your best practices, so that it can be easily taken up by new projects and new teams that have come in, that has been taken into the organization. Make sure that you're able to streamline your delivery. So when it comes to streamlining your delivery, it is about defining what the customer is expecting it, and defining that accurately, and also in a very simplistic manner, collaborating on what the customer is expecting, and also having a stringent view in tracking if the customer needs are being met, by not overburdening the process which the teams are following. So how do you streamline delivery? How do you ensure that the right resources are identified and allocated to projects? And then how you will be able to, as a result of the first three pillars or first three elements, how you will be able to create a ecosystem where you will be able to get accurate views on your project forecast, your revenue, and as a result of it, ensure project profitability. So in the next 20 minutes or so, we will very briefly look at how customers have implemented some practices within their organization to ensure that these elements are being implemented, and as a result of which they have been able to see success in their overall project execution and project delivery. So we will look at the first part, that is consistency. Now, what this means is setting up templates that are available and easily accessible for project teams. It can be implemented through a system. It can be digitized. We are in the digital economy. So your best practices, your best the proven methods that you have followed over the years, which you have improved on based on your experience, can it be templatized and can it be digitized? Now, digitization of these best practices is from an implementation perspective, it is exhausted and it covers multiple aspects. Like say, for example, you will be able to standardize the delivery tasks for various types of engagements that you're following within your organization. So an organization which is large will have different delivery methods, different delivery models. And each of these methods and models will have different workflows associated with it, different task types associated with it, different ways in which milestones are identified and defined, and different ways in which dependencies are set across various activity streams. So, what if you're able to completely templatize this through a system? And if you're able to templatize it, and to the extent where you will be able to set up the sequence or recommend a sequence in which activities needs to be executed, you will be able to set up hierarchies of these activities. And this is applicable for different types of service delivery engagements. It can be a fixed price engagement, it can be a T&M engagement. So if you're able to templatize the task structure or the standard set of activities, then what would happen is when a delivery team creates a project, they get a blueprint plan along with the dependencies and the Gantt chart view, which they will be able to then use for that specific project. Now, as you can see over here in the screenshot, what will be given to the project teams is a set of tasks, a set of deliverables, a set of milestones, which is basically the best recipe for ensuring that a project that has been taken up for a particular customer can be delivered in a consistent and a successful way. Now, templatization is not only about setting up the task structures, it is also about setting up the various work templates that gets used in a delivery lifecycle. So work templates that can be used for defining your risks, your issues, your milestones, your budgets, your project charter, and so on and so forth. All of that can be digitized and standardized so that what has been successful and what is the best practice is available for the delivery teams. You can digitize your workflows. You can digitize the standard set of reports and dashboards that needs to be used for reviewing the progress of a project. So all of this can basically be templatized and it can be made available for teams. Now, what this ensures is that if there are 10 projects that is being executed within your organization, all the 10 projects are delivering in a consistent way. All the 10 projects are following the best practices. And if something new comes up, that can again be templatized and it can be incorporated to the new projects that gets created within the system. Now, let me quickly, in interest of time, move on to the second part. That is a streamlined delivery, where you're talking about defining, collaborating, and tracking the customer needs. Now, this is extremely important. The earlier point which I mentioned about templatization, its primary objective is to create a workspace, create a workflow that can be used by project teams to ensure that the delivery is streamlined. That is one way you will also be able to differentiate from your competitors. The methods and the process and the tools and the automations which we use is completely focused on streamlining our delivery and making sure that we are able to deliver in a very simple manner or seamless manner the customer expectations. Now, what does this mean? This definitely is a very vast subject, but we will just look through a couple of these capabilities. The first one is have an ability to define what the customer needs during the various phases of the project. Customer may give you the requirements upfront, customer may give you the requirements in an iterative manner, but have a definite definition of those requirements, probably in a system, so that it can be viewed by the customer and it can also be viewed by all the stakeholders. So as you can see here, you can define your milestones, you can define your deliverables, the key assumptions that has been taken into account. You will be able to set up dates, you'll be able to set up owners, you'll be able to see track your delays, you'll be able to identify those milestones which are nearing its due date, which the customer is expecting. So You will be able to get all of this in place if you have a mechanism where you are able to set the expectations or define the expectations of the project in a system through a digital form. And you can probably call it the project charter. That is what most of the the PMO industry calls it. So have a mechanism wherein which you can set up the charter, define the milestones, deliverables, all aspects that the customer needs with dates, get it reviewed, approved, and have a mechanism so that it can be periodically reviewed, and you will also be able to generate notifications as a result of that. Now, once you have defined these milestones, this is just not going to be a static definition. It has to get aligned to execution. Because as you're executing, you need to get an input on how that specific milestone is progressing. Is you have 5 days, it is 80% done, is it 50% done? So all those kind of views are very important. So there should be a mechanism wherein which you will be able to link what the customer needs, which you have defined in the form of milestones and deliverables, to execution activities. It could be tasks, it could be user stories if you're following the agile method. And if that can be done through a system, the linkages will then ensure that what is happening at the ground level, at the by the which is being executed by the execution team, the exact update will roll up to the milestone, and without wasting much time, you're able to get a comprehensive view on what is happening to that specific deliverable. Now, we have had cases where our customers have been able to identify whether a milestone is able to get over on time. Are there issues that has been reported, and so on and so forth, and they have been able to take the required corrective actions. Now, these linkages can be simple links, or it can also be based on relationships. You can create a hierarchical relationship, in the sense you will be able to link a milestone to its, you can break it down to its next level. Then you can link it to user stories, or you can link it to tasks, or you can link it to deliverables which you have defined within your project workspace, which is whatever is suitable. You basically will be able to define it. But the point over here is you're able to create a hierarchy, and the lower level items in the hierarchy is what is going to be taken up by the execution team. And as the work gets completed, you are able to get an accurate and real-time view on what is happening as far as a customer need is concerned, or a customer deliverable is concerned. Now, as you define this, it is also important to have a framework where you will be able to collaborate on each, have a mechanism where you can have an in context collaboration, share documents, collaborate with your customers, and you can have multiple channels in which these collaborations can happen. It can happen through an application which you're using, or it can also happen through various channels like Slack or Teams, which your organization is using, provided you're able to connect the work management system or the project management system with such channels. The third aspect of the next aspect of streamlining your delivery is related to how do I handle exceptions? How do I handle issues? How do I handle changes? So having a process, just defining them and ignoring them will not make sense. But having a process, some of them may require a workflow. Some of them may be very lightweight. They may not require a workflow. But having a process in place so that these aspects, which can cause a potential issue in a project at a later point of time, can be addressed on time. And if it is not getting addressed on time, it can also get notified and escalated at higher levels. Now, this is very important as far as streamlining delivery is concerned. The next aspect is have visualize the work which you are doing, and in the visualization paradigm, have a lot of indicators which will basically help you to identify those aspects of your delivery which can be a potential bottleneck. Like if you look at this visualization view, you're able to see the activities which are getting delayed. You're able to see some red indicators over here, which means that there is going to be a delay due to certain dependencies that are associated with that work. So have an easy mechanism wherein which you will be able to visualize the work, You will be able to visualize the way the work is progressing as far as a customer deliverable is concerned. And more importantly, very early in the life cycle, have the ability to identify bottlenecks so that you will be able to address those bottlenecks and it will not cause an issue when the actual delivery is being made to the customer. And then also have insights very early in the life cycle on potential delays. If you're able to identify such delays, maybe 2 days into your work or 3 days into your work, so if you have a mechanism of identifying that, you will be able to identify those deliverables which has a potential of delay, and then you will also be able to bring in the corrective action to make sure that the delay impact is less significant. And you will also probably be able to discuss that very early in the life cycle with the customer and make sure that they are not surprised. So this is all about streamlining delivery. And then the last part on this slide is primarily related to having visual indicators which can be shared with the customer, which can be viewed by your internal stakeholders and by the delivery teams on how work is progressing. The work that has been committed, the work that has been delayed, delivered, the work that has been delayed, and the work that has been that is pending. So have a real-time visualization on this so that it can be monitored and tracked on a daily basis. So these are the ways in which delivery can be streamlined. And as you may be able to imagine, if this does take place, the customers from a delivery perspective will be having a much better experience, and hence it is important. Now let's quickly move to the next slide, which is on optimizing resource allocations. Now, resources do get allocated to the project, but a project will need a resource with a specific skill. A project will need a resource with a specific experience, and a project will also need a resource with a specific billing rate, which is again a challenge, and also a specific availability window that to make sure that he or she is able to contribute 100% to the project's needs. Now we do so you can have a mechanism where such needs can be identified. There could be a requisition process, there could be a collaboration between the project teams and the resource teams within the organization, just to identify the need. And once the need has been identified, there can be a mechanism wherein which you will be able to search across the entire pool of resources within your organization and identify those resources that best fit the need of the particular project and then get them allocated to the system. So this will ensure that you are able to, if there is a resource who's available within the organization, maybe in the same location, maybe in a completely different geographical location, you will be able to identify such resource and get them allocated to the project. So that is important. What typically happens is a lot of compromises is being done in this process, and a lot of these compromises can be avoided. It is only a fact that you have not been able to identify that person in spite of that person being there within the organization. And having a mechanism to identify such resources will help the delivery teams, and it is far better than going external and hiring them and incurring additional cost to the organization. Now, once the resources has been identified, one important aspect as when it comes to allocating a resource the to a project or a service delivery engagement is to allocate him to the project or the service delivery engagement as per the need with the right percentage allocation and with the right role, because this is going to have an impact on the overall costing of the project. If a resource is over allocated, he was only required 40 hours for the project, but you've gone and allocated him 80 hours or 120 hours to the project, then it is going to have an impact on the actual profitability of the organization. And it is also going to have an impact where the resource could have been assigned to another critical project within the organization. So having a mechanism wherein which you will be able to accurately align the right role, accurately align the right cost details, and accurately align the right percentage requirement to a resource during the allocation process is important. And then have an easy mechanism, whether it is for a fixed price engagement or a T&M engagement, have an easy mechanism where all the tasks that has been assigned to a resource, typically in a professional services or a service delivery engagement scenario, we will see cases where a resource is always working on multiple projects. It is very rare that he's working on a single project. So in such cases, having an integrated view where the resource is able to see all the tasks and activities that has been assigned to them across projects and have an easy way in which they can report the actual effort is significant, because this is then going to contribute to the revenue that can be recognized in the project. And as a result of which, you will be able to see whether it is at a milestone level or at a T&M project level, what was planned, what is the actuals, and what is the remaining. You will be able to see get that data real time on a daily basis, and you will that will basically help you manage your resources in a far better way. Now, with this, it all finally leads to revenue and profitability. The reason why service delivery organizations are engaged in delivering services, any type of services, it could be an implementation service or it could be an augmentation service, any type of services, the primary reason is to make that engagement profitable and help the organization grow. And for that, it is very important to capture certain parameters of the financial model very early in the project lifecycle and make it visible to all the relevant stakeholders. It could be a fixed price, it could be you will have different workflows that is applicable for the project. You will have different workflows that is applicable for the project, workflows that would govern your delivery. So that is one aspect. Based on the revenue model, you will also be able to allocate the required revenue rates that has been agreed with the customer, that has been agreed for the project, and make sure that you're able to track your revenue cost and the forecast related data based on the rate that has been agreed with the customer. So you need to have a flexible way in which you can set up these rate cards, because what typically we see is rate cards can be different for different projects. Within the same project, rate cards can be different for different roles. Rate cards can be different for different duration. So having an ability of setting that up and accurately capturing it is basically going to contribute to accurately determine your revenue and your forecast. And then have a way in which you will also be able to set up your milestones and track the forecast and the actual cost against each of these milestones. Now, we have encountered at some of our customer sites complexities where it is a large program. You have multiple milestones, and each of those milestones will have a different financial model. Some of the milestones will be purely on T&M basis. Some of the milestones will be on fixed price basis. Some of the milestones will be on a transactional basis. So how do you ensure that so typically if that is not being supported in a project, you will end up creating three streams of project to track these three streams of milestone or three streams of activity. But if you are able to track it in a project, then it is one single integrated workspace, which will then contribute to an integrated report or an integrated view. And finally, since you're able to set up your rates, you're able to set up your financial model, have the ability to generate your forecast reports, your revenue reports, and your profitability reports at a project level, and have the ability to roll them up at multiple levels within the organization, maybe at a customer level, at an account level, at a business unit level, at an organization level, and so on and so forth, and have the ability to generate these reports real time so that it can be shared with the finance team. The finance team will be able to track the progress of completion of milestones. The finance team will be able to track the progress of work against what has been planned in that particular project. And then, that can aid them in making sure that invoices are raised and revenued at the right time. So these are what the nimble. These are what we have seen has helped our customers and also to the people which we have talked to on how projects can be successful. Just to summarize, we need to ensure that there is consistency in delivery. We need to ensure that the best practices are given to all teams within the organization, and they will be able to inherit it to their projects very easily. We need to ensure that resources with the right skills, the right levels of availability, the right rates are allocated to a project. We need to ensure that the revenue model is aligned to execution, and we also need to ensure that visibility on the revenue and the forecast details of a project is available to all key stakeholders right from the initial stage of the project. So with that, I conclude my presentation, and we'll quickly move on to the Q&A session. Just wanted to check if Mahesh, you want to add anything else, or if there are any questions, we can take it up.
No, I was actually that is the right slide to end on. I wanted to just reiterate that there are multiple, aspects of projects, technology, and organization, including processes, that really make uh, the overall organization capable of delivering projects successfully. And we have had some of the most complex and largest, um, you know. Uh, services organizations, IT services, consulting organizations, professional services organizations as customers, and a lot of the capabilities that Manu presented today really show our own journey, our own evolution of the capabilities that we provide based on our learning of what makes for successful project delivery capability. And we've seen that some of the most successful organizations in globally are able to do so because they have really organized themselves well in terms of people, in terms of processes, in terms of technology capability to manage and plan these projects. And therefore, as a result, we have learned through their experience, and we have been responsive to what these organizations need and these industries need, and provide a really strong capability. And I think, Mano, you captured that very well. I think we have a bunch of questions in the session today, so let's get to them. We have a few minutes to take on some questions. So, Linza, I think we can get started. I think there are at least five, six questions that I saw earlier.
Yes. So let me start with the first question. In your experience, who defines the best practices for project teams? Can each project team use their own?
So
So, yeah, go ahead, Mano.
yeah, the what we have seen across our customer base is the best practice is either defined by the PMO, or we have seen customers having a delivery excellence team, or it is being defined by the delivery excellence team. So it is basically defined by the centers of excellence. And the way in which these best practices are defined is they take in learnings from across the projects which they have executed. They look at some of the frameworks that is available in the industry for project execution. And we have seen a lot of customers making their execution process very lean, agile, and easy for teams to adopt. And hence they basically go ahead and set it up. It cannot be done by the project teams. Now, there is flexibility provided for project teams to change the process as per the project needs. Maybe the customer is asking for it, or the nature of the project is such that you need to bring in a change. But even if you bring in a change, that learning is again factored and built into the overall best practice process that has been defined, set up for the organization.
And I just want to add to that the ability to really have support for a variety of these best practices and methods, and the ability to tailor them for each project or each customer, each context. That's really key to how teams adapt these best practices and processes in a consistent manner, while having the autonomy to be able to change things for their own context. The more support we provide for that, the more buy-in there is from the different teams to be able to sort of start from a common base, and then tailor based on their own requirements. And that's actually really big part of the success that we've seen in these organizations.
All right. So moving on to the next question. Do you have templates available for different types of projects in an IT services and professional services organization?
Yes, we do have templates. We, uh, based on our experience of dealing with multiple customers over the last 20 years, we have set up templates based on our experience. And as and when newer technology or methodologies emerge, we have taken the approach of setting up a startup template, which can be used by organizations to kickstart their project. Now, specifically for service delivery, professional services, templates are available. The best practice templates are available with us, which is based on the experience which we have gained.
All right. So the next question is, you mentioned fixed price and T&M. How do you support these? Yeah,
Okay.
that is the question.
Okay, that's a good question, but I will, I mean, and the response needs to be detailed, but I will just summarize it. So in fixed price projects, it is all about setting up your milestone or delivery cadence along with the dates and aligning them with the actual execution. Execution can be in terms of tasks, activities, or user stories if you're following a lean agile team. But what is important is when the project gets set up as part of the project charter, you have to identify the milestones which has been committed and agreed with the customer, and it can keep getting added as the project is progressing. Now, at the milestone level, the likely cost, the forecasted cost is captured. The forecasted effort is captured, and that is captured from a billing and an invoicing perspective. And it is also captured from a perspective to make sure that the internal teams are able to deliver that specific milestone within the forecasted cost or forecasted hours that has been put for that particular milestone. Because if it is exceeding it, then it means that you have delivered the milestone, but you have not delivered the milestone on time and on cost. TNM is relatively simple. TNM heavily relies on resource allocation percentage, like I discussed before, and it also heavily relies on the actual effort that has been put in by the resource and the rate cards. Now, these are very much required for TNM projects. And once you have set it up, then you will be able to get your weekly or monthly revenue that has been burnt into the project, and you will also be able to easily track what is remaining as per the contractual obligation.
All right. So there's a follow-up to that. Do you support multiple billing rates for people, and do you provide timesheet at the project level?
Yeah, we provide timesheet at the project level. That was a screen which I shared. So every resource has a timesheet. A resource may be working on a single or multiple projects. He or she will be able to see the projects and the task that has been assigned to them. It's a very simple interface. It is also enabled on our mobile app, so you can very easily go in, identify your task, and put in put in your efforts against those tasks.
Okay, I think we can incorporate one more question, if that is okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So, I saw hybrid agile in your product slide. How do you support hybrid agile projects?
So the hybrid agile framework is will basically help you to plan a a project end to end, and then you will also be able to identify which parts of your plan should be executed the waterfall way, and which parts of the plan should be executed by an agile team which follows the Scrum or the Kanban method. So we provide an ability where you will be able to link tasks in your plan to your agile work items, which then gets executed in a completely different way using your sprints and Kanban boards. And the good thing is, as it gets executed, the data gets rolled back to the plan. So at any point of time, if you want to get a view on what is the percentage completion of my project, what is the remaining duration of my project, you will very easily be able to get it if it is being planned using our hybrid method?
I just want to add to that. Thanks for the question. Um, a hybrid agile and what we call pragmatic agile, and that's not our terminology. That's been out there in the industry for many years now. Is some of the key sort of capabilities that we provide, because what we've seen, and I think in the current environment, especially, there is a lot of discussion on, how effective has Agile been, how successful has Agile been in terms of overall organizational transformation. There's a lot of discussion on the resistance to the change to Agile, some of the dogma and rigidity that has crept in for Agile. And um, I mean, there is just a lot of discussion which indicates the struggle that organizations have in terms of, sort of the large scale transformation that typically organizations sort of plan for and go through. And really, the pragmatic slash hybrid agile capabilities allow your transformation teams to plan for a more gradual, a more phased approach to doing that transition, and therefore making it a little less painful. And we provide a lot of capabilities in that aspect, and we'd love to have you take a look at those and maybe have a follow-up discussion for those. But we really make it I believe we make it really effective for organizations to lead their agile transformations using some of these capabilities. All right, Lindsay, any more questions? Or I guess we are slightly over the time limit, but
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we do have few more questions if you want me to, like, if we
Maybe we
want.
can take one more. I think we are a couple of
Sure,
minutes over,
sure.
but we can go with one more.
Okay. Can we define our own templates? We have some very complex processes.
Yes, you can set up your templates. Uh, you can first use one of the templates which we have and modify it to suit your requirement, or you can create a completely new template from scratch, which will reflect your best practice method. Okay.
All right. That's it.
Okay. I just want to make sure that people have the uh, contact information for us. So I'm just going to share this slide back again. Um, Folks, thank you very much for staying the entire duration of the session. Really appreciate the time that you've given us. If you'd like to have any follow-up discussions or any more questions, please connect with us either through our individual contact information that's available here, or through the company's contact information at the bottom of the slide. We'd love to hear from you and to see how you handle some of these challenges, or how you are managing projects across multiple processes, multiple business units, and what makes for success in your world. We will continue with these sessions in the coming months, and perhaps this is the last webinar for this year. Linza, is that correct? I think this is probably the last one that we are doing
Yes,
this year.
Mahesh, yes.
All right. So yeah, so thank you again. Really appreciate this end of the year webinar that you all attended, and we look forward to continuing and meeting you in the new year. Mano, thanks again for a great session.
Thank you, Mahesh.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.